Extra hot. Call to order. Can we stand for the pledge?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call. Chairman Jay Pankowski,
Here.
Vice Chair Renee Wells,
Present.
Commissioner Eric Martin, Commissioner Mark Sterrett, Commissioner Fred Meyer,
Present.
and I'm Adam Bocanegra, Executive Secretary. Verification of agenda posting. The agenda for Airport Advisory Commission of the City of Hollister meeting of March 23rd, 2022, posted on the bulletin board at City Hall on March 16th at 10 a.m. per Government Code Section 54954-2.
We can wait. Eric just walked in.
Earlier?
Time changed.
Yes, it is. The time change.
We're about to get to line 4, item 4. Do I get a vote on the minutes from last meeting if I wasn't here?
I'm not sure that works.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes from last meeting?
I motion to approve the minutes last meeting.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Section 5, do we have public input?
You're the public, dude. No input.
Nothing.
Looks like no input.
All right.
All right, we'll go to 6, reports.
Flying 110th anniversary.
There's no update on the fly-in for the 110th anniversary. Still working on that, but we do plan to do something. I'm just not sure what. Working on establishing a committee for that. If anyone's interested, let me know.
Item B, CAL FIRE ground lease.
Thank you, Brett Miller, City Manager. So we're working with CAL FIRE to update their ground lease that they have currently at the city. Their CAL FIRE surveyor has been out working on a legal description and final draft of their exhibit that should be done about two more weeks. And we're hoping that they'll be leasing, I believe it's 15 acres. So that will be nice to get out of the old lease and into a new one.
Did anybody check into the possible EPA ramifications of that site? They've been there for like 40, 50 years and they borate and whatever they used to use as a fire retardant could leave that place a EPA super site. You never know.
Correct. Well, we have not looked into it yet, but we're trying to figure out what the best solution to attack that.
And I just don't think we need to clean it up. They should.
Oh, no, I believe that is in their lease also.
Okay.
So this is just extending their lease now, is that correct?
We are working, I mean, they have the lease where they're currently at, and then they also have the lease where the two runways come together. It would be the southwest portion. They have a 40-year lease on that one, where they're 10 years into it, but we do not get any rent payments until they build a building. There's no incentive for them to build, so it'd be really nice for them to, they're at a point where my understanding is that they have a budget from the state to go ahead and build a building out there. So we're going to work on an improved lease agreement. My intention is for us to make sure we have a triggering mechanism so that rent payments do start right away.
So that would be on the west side they're gonna start building?
Yeah.
The west side of 3113, yes.
You're gonna be on the.
Yeah,
west-
that's gonna be the new site, correct?
The new site, correct.
Thank you.
And is that lease for the lease for the west side property, you're going to renew that lease or
Correct. Yeah,
establish
no,
new
that-
lease?
Yeah.
Would they pay on both properties until that's built? In other words, or it would have to be when
Yeah,
tenancy?
we have not worked on any specifics yet. I just know that they're interested in changing that lease. So that'll be probably part of it.
It seems like since I've lost money for so long on that long-term lease, it wasn't, your
Correct.
responsibility, is that if they, in the new lease, it should be some stipulation that, or maybe part of it is they have to pay.
Yeah, we'll be working on that. We have that in our plan.
Okay, great, thanks.
Yeah, I probably don't want to go into too much detail because then I'll be negotiating against myself if they hear all this stuff.
And we did confirm that they are paying rent on the heliport, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
You ready for me to move on to the airport manager? I concluded just this week, the final interview between our finalists. I will tell you, I have a horrible position to have two great candidates, and it's just figuring out exactly which of the two is the best for us. And we'll start doing background and reference checks and things like that. I feel like we have two good candidates that will move forward, not move forward, but be able to choose from. And will be either one, I feel would be a great asset to our airport.
Do we have any idea of a start date?
No, not at this time.
Would have to be contingent on whether
Correct.
they.
Yeah,
have to get-
and just so everybody knows, I mean, we also, one of our things that we make everybody do for a government agency, they have to go through a background check. They've got to go through a physical. Those all kind of take time outside to get your physical. You're going to have to get an appointment, go get it. That person has to show up, and it takes time. I keep telling everybody I want this done like 6 months ago. It's difficult.
You don't already have a job, right?
I know that's why you're not one of the two.
We
I
did
would like to
have-
thank our community panel and expert panels, which you have two of them in this room.
Thank you. We had some really good candidates, so I'm glad that we have come down to two final ones and looking forward to having that person on staff.
So item D, runway maintenance status. So since the last meeting, we talked about getting the crack sealing out there, and we did that twice, 2 days, full days since. We got some of the taxiways now more crack sealed than they were actually. So we're doing it in pieces when I can get a crew of at least 2 people there. Aside from that, we changed out, I say we, and I'm the only one there. Changed out 5 lights since, updated some wiring on the PAPIs on 1.3. So the bulbs kept going out. So we changed those wires out and those bulbs have been lasting longer now. So I think that's about it for that. And then mowing, and if you guys have been at the airport, you see me mowing and disking and spraying. So
Jack of all
it's
trades.
nonstop. It's nonstop.
He's having fun out there driving the truck.
I forget what time it is sometimes.
Did you hit any
It's too-
squirrels?
No comment.
Well, what's that say?
No comment.
Supposed to say, not that I know of.
No
Yeah,
comment.
yeah.
Item A, removal of old building.
Yeah, on that one, staff does know that those are an eyesore out there. We did remove the electrical blocks from building 14. Will be relocated March 25th, and then so building 14 and 15 will be ready for demo. I think everybody knows Vista Park Hill. We had a building burned down. We had insurance money for that, and it was the kind of like, well, should we just remove that building or rebuild it? And we got a price for the to demolish it, and we went, that's a great price. So let's go ahead and do the other building that was next to it, and or actually the other 2. Those were reasonable. And we said, oh well, what if it's this price? Let's go ahead and get a quote for the airport buildings. Well, they're not the same. It was going to be about $300,000 to do it. We continue to kind of bring up the fund balance of the airport fund. We're just not there. And it will be in our plans. We are trying to get a grant right now that would actually cover that. We're trying to find other means to get it done, but it is my desire to get those buildings down, because I think it's kind of an eyesore to potential investors that maybe want to do something out at the airport. And it's always nice to have the sign out there that, build a suit, instead of like, we'll knock down a building to suit you. That's even tougher. It's hard to get a vision of what you want when you have a old building sitting out there.
Thank you.
Item F, hangar waiting list policy. So they emailed, was it Liz or Liz and Tony probably, emailed you guys the policies? You guys all have them?
I received it. I don't know if everyone else.
I got it.
Yes, I received it. Mhm.
And my recommendation, if you're looking to maybe change policies, probably wait to the new airport manager. I will do my best to get that person in as soon as possible. And that person probably can help you. If you feel like it needs to be changed, let that person help you lead that charge.
Thank you, Brett.
Item G, through the fence status.
Yeah, this one's a fun one. We're working with the FAA, and it's been in some aspects smooth. They're just getting back and forth with the negotiations, and I'm hoping we have our first tenant ready to go here real soon. And it's exciting. We're just going through the process, and the first one's always the hardest one. So once we get that down, it'll go a lot smoother. So that's about it.
Do you know who the first agreement's gonna be for?
Yeah, I think it's pretty well known by now. For zero is for the bond.
Negative,
no.
Zero obvious,
Zero, oh, yeah, what did I say?
something else.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
Zero obvious.
Zero, oh, yeah, sorry,
That's
I
their
always say the
nickname.
wrong ones. It's what the Bob Ince hangar. Yeah, sorry. Told you, that 5 hours of sleep on Monday night is still throwing me off.
They're building hydrogen electric powertrains.
Yeah, the guys used to be in the cubicles or old hangar.
Yeah, my understanding is they're planning on still staying there for the time being. But yeah, I mean, hopefully we can get them to expand. Just continue to keep expanding. They've got a good backing, so.
Hey,
it looks
Dave,
good.
you don't want that to get successful. People come in and gas up with water.
I'm gonna figure out how to sell water.
I don't know if anybody knows that, but we're in a drought.
Yeah. Make water. You moving on?
Yeah, we can go to old business.
Yep.
Thank you, everybody. I have another board meeting to go to.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brett.
I don't have anything for the old business. I don't know if you guys had.
Fred, do you have any old business?
No, I don't.
We'll go to 8, new business.
What's new? Do we have any new business?
Nothing on my end.
Did the Rubino building ever get final?
Not that I'm aware of.
They're not moved in yet?
No.
We're still paying me rent.
You want that to, you're milking that, aren't you?
I'm milking it for everything I can.
So should we add that to old business or?
I was just curious. I mean, just because it's on the flight line.
I don't think we need to bring it up again.
I have new business
Go for it.
for next time. I'd like to talk about the property between the Armory and the skydiving center, whether the airport owns that or the state. And whether there might be an opportunity to purchase that if it's owned by the state, since it's not really being used. And extending the taxiway over to that area, so that if we do remove those contaminated buildings, we might be able to build some hangars so that we can taxi over there. I just think that's a big waste of,
Over the culvert that's there, right along the side of the runway.
I mean, it's just a thought. Even
Yeah.
if we don't do that, if we can buy that property and put some hangars over there. It just seems like it's a waste, and I think it's about 13 acres. I'm not sure. It doesn't seem like it's that big, maybe 5.
Yeah.
Do you
More
know
like
how
5.
long the wait list is?
How long it is? I'm not sure currently. Each wait list has a different time now, and I'm not sure how.
You know
long
the
lists
time
are.
frame when Reed Hill View is going to close, Dave? 2031? We got a few years.
For sure, 2031, but a lot of those tenants are looking for other places to go to take their planes that have unleaded fuel. Although, there's ways to convert it, but there are also businesses that are worried and want to get out of their lease while they can, or maybe their new lease is coming up for renewal and they don't want to renew it with every year this happening. So I think that we need to think about ways that we can improve the airport and provide new resources for Reed Hillview. You can't go to Watsonville. San Martin's in the same situation. They don't have any room, and they're owned by Santa Clara. And so,
Well, San Martin does have room. They just charge exorbitant rent. I mean, huge.
I'd like to go back to that, what you're talking about, Renee, that land that you want to purchase. I think it's in the master plan to set up a run-up area there for runway 6 and 24.
oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure that Dean Judd was asking for that for years and years.
Great. We'll have Adam look into that, bring
What,
it up at the next.
Northeast, Fred, the northeast section?
Yes.
On the east side.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the property we sold.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Just south of 24, right at the corner there.
Oh, gotcha.
Right between Skydive and
The armory.
Originally,
See, right now, there's no run-up area there. Yeah. And no run-up area available at that spot.
Just remember that the people who are watching on the Zoom can't see who you're talking to. And so,
Paul, could you get a zoom in on Dave over there in the, this is our member at large. When I point that way, that's who I'm
There we
talking
go.
to. You're famous.
so I think this should just be added as an item for the next, an item for the next agenda.
That area was in fact slated for hangars at one time. It was, and the access, which we referred to as the grassy knoll, is where Sal Rubino now has a new hangar. But that was the access to that area.
Yeah. The only access now would be from the taxiway,
Taxiway Charlie,
and you'd have to go over the culvert.
that's the problem. Even for a run-up area large enough, it goes right into that culvert, right into that. Dips into that. So anytime you get into that, of course, the expense goes up. And we move water.
Well, there are, to be honest with you, where Swing Farms used to be, that guy is subdivided, got a map with subdivisions with through the fence agreements on them, or the potential for through the fence agreements. So that'd be the northeast.
I thought that property was purchased for that warehouse.
Oh, it's subdivided.
Oh,
It's subdivided into many lots. It's not going anywhere right now, but
I'm hoping to negotiate some land for the airport future.
you think so?
I hope so, because I know that when your family owned it, technically still do. When they owned it, they had a portion of some of that land for the airport future. Then I think acres it was.
We had a map on it that was actually going to be an air park.
That's what I was going by. I saw the the plans on that, but not an ALP at one point.
Yeah,
Bickle was involved in that.
yeah, no, still is. We're all still the big three and then me. Tiny guy.
So I hope that is still. We need that ramp space where I'm at right now, also Jet Center. I'm kind of in the center of Warbird Central. But in the future, the Jet Center and all the action is going to be at the apex of 2-4 and 1-3 on that northeast corner of the airport. That's where the action is going to be. We need the ramp space. We need a hotel there. We need the stuff that airports that grow into.
That would be
Space
nice.
Where you park, I had 3 Challenger 650s on the ramp the other day, lined up. There's no room for anything else. And
Yeah,
so that's not,
I wonder if there's what kind of deal do the glider guys have?
I hate to interrupt, but people, you're not supposed to have, talk about items that are on the agenda.
Correct.
This is
Otherwise,
new business, Fred.
So you can't ramble off like that. You have to stay with the agenda.
you have to stay
Under
with,
new business?
it is new business, but it's for
Well, you
the
said you want
next
to add it to the
agenda.
next agenda. Okay.
And it has to be,
agenda.
it has
Got
to
it.
be posted so that everybody in the public can provide comments to it, and it wasn't on there. So you have to be very careful about that.
so what are you looking for new business, glider port wise, glider?
Just want to know what their deal is on the airport, because they may take up a lot of the ramp.
Okay.
They do pay tie downs, though, don't they, or fees? So if the space isn't being used, to me, it should be used by a glider or airplane that's tying down.
Look at the economics of whether or not a 650 pays more than a glider monthly. Might be a big difference. financially.
Maybe we could add to the agenda for next time, are the fees different for different kinds of, whether it's a glider, a jet, airplane, by size?
Okay.
Maybe on a new business, we should maybe discuss what direction the airport should go in. Do we want to keep it the small town glider port, you know, whatever, or are we going to expand with the town and the Bay Area and start heading in a direction to where we have facilities that could handle 6 Challengers or Gulfstreams, or put in a fixed base operation that, or a hotel, or, you know, something that's going to attract that some kind of business, or do we stray away from that?
I think we have to wait until we get the airport director and get their input. I know that the grant funding that's out there, the infrastructure funding, there is billions of dollars available for airports. And I know that the city has applied for a fairly large one to improve the airport. So I know there's plans out there. I think we just need to all come together and maybe have a discussion about the overall plan for the next 5 years. Right now, we don't know what the plan is because we don't have an airport director and we don't have a good vision of what is already planned in process there. And so maybe just an overview of projects that are ongoing, things that are looking for when the city or the airport are applying for grants. Give us the commission a little more feedback and let us provide our views of when you're applying for grants. You know, just, we feel like maybe we should be more involved in that effort. Do you agree?
Sure.
Do you agree, Fred?
Yes, I do. When do we get an airport director? Then we can move forward on a lot of these items.
We're talking about the airport manager, right? Or the director?
It is airport manager. I
Manager.
think originally it was airport director, but they
No, the airport
changed it
manager
to
is
airport
what
manager,
the
and I keep
position
calling
is.
it director.
I still think we put out new business, and then if we don't have a manager next month, we kick it down the road another month.
Okay.
Agreed. Do you have any new business, Fred?
No, I don't.
Okay.
If there's no other new business, we can figure out which items we want to bring over to the next agenda, item 9. Do we want to keep the 110th A,
I would.
Cal Fire ground lease?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Fred.
I would say item A, the anniversary and the Cal Fire lease. And airport manager. What's the status of that?
Because
And
1A, B, C.
Yes.
actually. And then the update on the building removal.
And maybe not the hangar wait list, but through the fence status. And then
Through the fence.
we can add update on Salarabino hangar or status of Tennessee, I guess.
Yeah, that hangar's been completed quite a while. You must be paying rent.
I'm sure he
Yeah, they
is.
have.
Are you good?
No.
Action items, CAL FIRE cleanup letter.
So I think that was emailed to you guys, I believe.
I don't know that I
Did
got
you
it.
get that one? So-
Fred, did you receive a CAL FIRE cleanup letter?
No, I don't believe, what was that? Cal Fire cleanup letter?
Right,
I didn't get it.
Okay.
Oh, yes, I did. Sorry.
I did, yeah.
It was sent, Tony sent out on February 24th.
I think it was the day after the last meeting.
That was an email?
Yes, it
Yes.
was. Fred, you're on the email list as well.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I probably got it. I'll have to take a look.
Could you provide what letter was?
You want me to read it?
Can we? Or do you want to add it again to the next agenda?
Was it sent? Or just what
She
the
sent
letter,
it
who the
today.
letter was to? Or if it's just a draft, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't have it on my.
Yeah, this looks like it's all signed by everybody and
Fred, we couldn't hear you.
I said, was this Cal Fire cleanup after they moved? Is that what this is about?
Yes, I believe it is.
Well, they're probably not gonna move for another 10 years.
But it had the cleanup on the letter. like-
so the email said attaches the CAL FIRE ground lease. See section 14 that you had questions on. Section 14. I think it's up to the airport what we get and what they have to remove. The airport plan is to call Earth Systems when it's time for ground evaluation. And so it says in the lease, upon termination or expiration of this ground lease, titles to all buildings, improvements, structures, and equipment placed in, under, or upon the premise by the leasee shall pass to lesser at no cost at lesser. And such improvements shall become the property of lesser, except as to those improvements that lesser notifies the elements whereby leasee's sole expense. The lessee shall surrender the premises and improvements to lesser in as good of order and condition as when received, accepting reasonable use and wear thereof, damaged by the elements or by circumstances over which the lease has no control.
Is that it?
So it sounds like CAL FIRE is responsible for the to leave it in the same order it was when they
took it.
took the lease.
Yeah, I can recall that years back that the airport will get all that equipment in good order when they leave. I remember that.
Well, they're renegotiating leases and whatnot. Even if they don't move in 10 years, Fred, we just need to make sure that it doesn't get left out of the new lease.
I agree.
So we
I
have
would-
it, the action item was covered with the email.
I think it was. I would like to make a recommendation that the commission be allowed to review leases before they're signed, or at least a draft version. I think we should have an opportunity to review the language. Do you?
On what leases?
Commercial leases. Like CAL FIRE,
Like ground lease?
like a ground lease, maybe.
Personally, I'm gonna say no, because I just had to do this. I switched leases for T hangars. And to then get a third party involved, it already took way too
Someone, yeah.
long between a corporation and the city. Because it's the corporation, the airport, plus the city, and it's time consuming. So if we want to bring in
Add in one more.
yeah, my vote's no on that.
I agree. It's just that I think there are some leases where there are tenants that can sublease in some leases where they're not going to be subleasing. And there are different components of those that I think are important to review as to why one lease is different than another lease. But I mean, I trust the judgment of the the city and the airport and the city
Airport
attorneys,
manager.
you know.
There's probably too many levels of government in there already. To be honest, I would say maybe be made aware of a new lease coming up
And
by whoever wants to lease the property. But to actually be a part of perusing the lease and approving every little item, I think that's just
No,
too much.
I'm not saying that. I'm just thinking that we should have the opportunity to look at it so that if we wanted to, we could not thoroughly go through it, but just be aware of it. And if we saw something that we didn't like, or we thought there might be a concern for, that we could provide feedback.
Are lease agreements public knowledge?
Yes,
They are.
yes.
But there are concerns if you're a tenant and you're looking at other tenants. It is public record.
Is it, but after it's been ratified or,
Well, before it's been ratified, then it's obviously internal, but you got
yeah,
the city manager, you've got the city attorney, you've got the people that.
Who's speaking now? I can't hear them.
Right, we
Dave.
should actually
Oh,
keep this as a new, an item for discussion because it's not on the agenda. David Leonardo was speaking and they were talking about leases, but I think because it's not on the agenda, we need to make sure we're not discussing something that the public doesn't have an opportunity to talk about. So maybe we just add, do we want to add a new business item or just think about it and
I don't. You?
put it on the agenda so we could revisit it one more time, just briefly. Let's see, get the other commissioners to check in on it.
And then if we decide we
get
want-
a majority thing going. I personally kind of side with Jay. I think that there's too much government involved in it already. But in the interest of being fair to everybody and what this commission's about, bring a Mark in, bring, all the commissioners in, have them weigh in on it, and we'll go from there.
So we'll add it to the next agenda?
Yes, please.
Okay.
I might want to add in the past, the city council makes the final decision, and we're only an advisory commission. So that's, but yeah, in the past, we have looked at leases, but only in an advisory capacity. Otherwise, we had no say so.
Yeah,
agree.
it's not a matter of say so, but you could sure raise attention to something that might be not normal in a lease and for whatever reason, and make people aware of it so that it doesn't get signed for 100 years or 99 years or whatever.
Yeah, well, the commission was able to go in and change the bylaws. And that was a good move.
I think we're at item 11, next meeting, April 27th, 2022 at 6 PM.
I will not be here. I will be in Cabo. Sorry.
We almost feel bad for you.
It's gonna be a boring meeting, I'll tell you that.
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I motion to adjourn this very meeting.
I second.
All in favor?
I.
Night, Fred.
You-